Hi guys, welcome back. Now today in this video you are joining me right here on board the incredible Norwegian Escape. Now in this video today we're going to talk about Norwegian Cruise Line's free at sea promotion, because before I booked my cruise to come on here I was really unsure about whether or not to add it to my reservation and what the benefits of it actually were. Now for anyone that's never cruised with Norwegian, free at sea is an optional promotion that you can pay to add to your booking. And it includes things like an open bar, it includes things like Wi-Fi, it includes things like shore excursion credit. But it's not as clear as that, and it's not as simple as it sometimes makes out. So look, join me down in the cabin, let me walk you through the free at sea promotion as it currently stands, and then hopefully you can use this video to help you decide if you should be adding it to your cruise booking in the future. Okay, hi guys, welcome to my cabin. Now before I get started on free at sea, I am cruising in a solo cabin this week. Now if you're interested in learning more about these, then head over to the video on my channel and check that out, because on there I'll be showing you the cabin, I'll be showing you the studio lounge, and I'll also be showing you a couple of other really cool aspects about cruising solo with Norwegian. But anyway, look, let's talk free at sea. Now before we get started, what you need to know is that free at sea splits into two different variants. So now number one is you can book free at sea as a package, or option number two is you can book what Norwegian Cruise Line call free at sea plus. Now when you see the price on the website, the first one that you'll see, which at the time of recording this is priced about $199, will be free at sea, and that will include shore excursions, it'll include dining, it'll include the open bar, and it will also include Wi-Fi. Now again, it all breaks down further in each of those categories, so let's take them one at a time and talk about what you get. Now first of all, let's talk about the open bar. Now this is probably the most interesting one for people who are looking at booking free at sea, because drinks packages on cruise ships are notoriously expensive. I'm spending most of the year this year on loads of different cruise ships. I'm cruise hopping all through the year. And drinks packages, I have found I have been horrified at some of the prices, because some cruise lines are charging $100 and up per day for a drinks package, which I think is crazy money. And yeah, Norwegian having the open bar as part of the free at sea, I actually do think is pretty good value. Now, on the basic free at sea, what you get with that is any drinks up to the value of, well, it's less than $15. That's US dollars. Now, additionally, with the free at sea package, you'll get 20% off any bottles of wine or champagne that you want to buy. You'll also get unlimited soft drinks, but point to note, you don't get unlimited bottles of water. And in fact, a bottle of water on this ship is chargeable, which that blew my mind when I went to the bar earlier this week, because I could go and I could order 25 bottles of Heineken if I was that way inclined. They would all be included. But if I try and get one bottle of water, then I have to pay, which is, yeah, very strange, but I can get water by the glass. Now, drinks packages on here at the moment are totally unlimited, so I can go to the bar as many times as I want to buy myself drinks. Now, it is worth mentioning that, again, on this ship, at the time of recording this, the rule on here is that you should be ordering 1 or 2 drinks per person, therefore meaning that I could go and get my other half a drink or one of my friends a drink, but I wouldn't be able to go and buy an entire table of people drinks. Now also remember that everybody in the same cabin must take the free at sea package, so if I had someone else in here, then we would both have to take that free at sea package. I couldn't just take it and then buy them all the drinks. We have to have one each. Now, let's look at what free at sea plus offers from a drink perspective. Now with that, you essentially get everything that we've just covered from free at sea, but you get more. So first up, you get all of your top shelf spirits are all included. So essentially any cocktail that you would want to order on the ship would be totally included. You can also get champagne by the glass, you can get Starbucks coffee, and you can get premium bottles of wine with dinner. Now, in addition to that, you also have different packages where you can get discounts on further bottles of wine. So, yeah, if you are a fan of drinks that don't necessarily fall within that free at sea budget, then yeah, you might want to look at the free at sea plus. Now next up, let's move on from drinks and let's look at speciality dining. Now this to me is a really interesting one, because as part of free at sea, and it gets slightly complicated in here, as part of the basic free at sea package, everybody on the ship is entitled to, on a 7-night cruise, 1 meal in a speciality restaurant. Now, if you cruise in a balcony grade cabin or above, then you'll be entitled to 2 meals in a speciality restaurant as part of the free at sea basic package. Now, it is worth mentioning that if you're cruising in a studio cabin, an inside cabin, or an ocean view cabin on a 7-night cruise, that's where you will receive 1 meal in a speciality restaurant, and only 1. So, for example, in this studio cabin this week, I have been for dinner at Cagney's Steakhouse, and that is my 1 meal. So yeah, always make sure you read the small print on that. Additionally, guys, if you're going on a shorter cruise or if you're going on a longer cruise, it then splits down even further. But for the purpose of remaining quick in this video, we're just going to look at a 7-night itinerary. Now, if you then look at upgrading to free at sea plus, you then receive a further 2 speciality dining room meals. So yeah, very, very interesting. And if you like the speciality options, then definitely worth considering. But let me talk to you about the price of them when we get to the next part of the video, which is whether or not the free at sea package is worth it for your account. Now next up, let's look at shore excursions. Personally, I don't go on shore excursions. I've never really rated them. I always feel as though I get put in a bus and carted round an island and then dropped back at a gift shop. I much prefer to get off and explore and do my own thing. So I've had free at sea applied to my account this week, but I haven't actually used the shore excursion benefit. Now, in terms of what you get on the basic free at sea package, you get $50 US, so $50 US per tour to spend. And if you then upgrade to free at sea plus, you get an additional $50 per tour for the second guest. So yeah, again, think about if you go on excursions. If you do, that might pay for itself pretty quickly. But again, hold fire until the next part of the video. Now, the final part that we need to look at with free at sea is Wi-Fi. And if you thought it was complicated before, wait until I start to simplify this for you, or start trying to simplify this for you. Now, Wi-Fi on a Norwegian cruise ship is broken down into a number of different categories. So, first up, you've got basic Wi-Fi, and that will allow you access to things like WhatsApp, for example. You can then upgrade to premium Wi-Fi, which essentially will allow you to have a much faster connection, it'll allow you access to more apps, and then you can upgrade again to what they call premium Wi-Fi with streaming. Now, that's your 3 packages, but it gets more complicated because you can then look at buying times of internet. So rather than just applying an internet package to your cruise, which means I can go on my iPhone, I can go on my laptop and go on the Wi-Fi at any point, I actually can apply for a 150-minute voucher, which means that for 150 minutes throughout my cruise, I can log on and log off, and log on and log off, and log on and log off, and spread that time out across my cruise. Now, with basic free at sea, what you receive is 150 minutes of standard Wi-Fi. So you don't have any access to streaming, you don't have any access to video services, and it does get you connected, granted, but it's not a great deal. Now, if you upgrade to free at sea plus, what you will get is unlimited Wi-Fi, but no streaming. So again, no access to things like YouTube, things like TikTok, things like Netflix. All of that would still be inaccessible, would be the word I would use, on a free at sea plus package. Now, what I would say for Wi-Fi is that it's relatively easy when you get on board the ship to upgrade your Wi-Fi. So to give you my example, I'm on here for a 7-night cruise and I was allocated 150 minutes of standard Wi-Fi. Now, as soon as I got on the ship, I knew that was never going to be enough for me because I like to stay on top of my YouTube channel I like to stay on top of TikTok, and I like to also interact with you guys over on my Instagram account. So I need to be connected, and I need to have a streaming internet service when I'm on board a cruise ship. Now, I was delighted, to be honest, to find out that if you don't use your minutes, so if I didn't activate my 150 minutes of internet, they would be able to take that and apply a credit note to my upgrade package. So essentially, they take the price that it would cost me to buy the full premium with streaming internet, which on this cruise was $279 for a week. I know, $279. Now, what they were able to do for me was take a $100 discount off of that price to bring it down to $179 for the week, which still seems like a lot of money, I know, but in terms of cruise ship Wi-Fi, believe it or not, it's actually not that bad. So look, hopefully that gives you a bit of a feel for what you can do with Free at Sea or Free at Sea Plus on your Norwegian cruise. Let's now move to look at whether or not I would recommend you apply this to your account. Now this, to be honest, is very, very specific to the type of cruiser that you are. I personally think that Free at Sea is fantastic value to get added onto your cruise. If nothing else, to pay $199 or whatever it is at the point of you watching this video to get the drinks package is excellent value based on what you can see other cruise lines charging for drinks. Generally speaking on here, a cocktail is about 15 US or 14 or 15 US dollars. That then means that by the time they then apply a 20% gratuity onto every individual drink that you buy if you don't have the package, you're very quickly, if you have a cocktail a night, you're very quickly going to get relatively close or scarily close to the total price it would have cost you to just put Free at Sea onto your account. Now, usually people look at drinks packages and they think, okay, I'd probably have to drink a lot to get my money's worth, or that is definitely what the Scottish in me thinks every time I pay for a drinks package. But with Norwegian, for me to get through 199 dollars of beer or wine or cocktails, it really doesn't take much on here. So what I would say is if you enjoy a couple of drinks a night, that in itself might make that package worthwhile. Now, let's move and look at speciality dining, because that's another really, really important one. Now, my favourite meal on board a Norwegian ship is Cagney's Steakhouse, and it's an a la carte restaurant that doesn't operate on a cover charge basis. So, if you've cruised before, you'll know that some speciality restaurants out there will offer you a cover charge where you pay 40 US dollars for your dinner, and then you'll get a 3 or 4 course set menu that you pick from, and you'll only pay $40 for your food. Now, in Cagney's, for example, it's a la carte, where you pay for your starter, you pay for your main, and you pay for your dessert. So, generally speaking, a la carte dining on ships is much more expensive than the cover charge option. Now, my dinner in Cagney's last night came to just over $100 if I had ordered a la carte. Now, I got a wonderful bill because my bill came and said, I think it was $106. It said $106 total due, Free at Sea package, minus $106, total due, $0. Great bill. So, my dinner last night paid for half of my Free at Sea package, which was absolutely excellent. Now, the Wi-Fi for me, I obviously use the voucher, so yeah, again, that's been worth it because that's brought streaming Wi-Fi down by $100, which actually in the big picture is a decent amount of money. And yeah, if you need to upgrade to streaming Wi-Fi, then to be honest, consider it a $100 gift voucher. That's the way I'm looking at it. So between my $100 gift voucher for Wi-Fi and my $106 meal at Cagney's, my Free at Sea package has already paid for itself, and that's before I've had a single drink. So yeah, just make sure that you plan. What are you planning to do on your cruise? Because personally, I think Free at Sea, at the time of recording this video, is probably decent value for the majority of cruisers out there. And that's it. That is a full overview of Free at Sea, Free at Sea Plus, and whether I think it's useful for you based on my experiences on board this ship. Now, tomorrow morning, I'm getting off of this ship to cruise past the Statue of Liberty at 5:30 in the morning, so I'm very, very excited for that. But hopefully you found this video useful, and if you have, then let me know. Jump down in the comments and let me know what you think. Are you planning to cruise with Norwegian and you've managed to get a bit more information on Free at Sea? Or actually, have you never thought about cruising with Norwegian and you didn't know this existed? Either way, jump down below. Any questions you've got, pop them down there and I would be delighted to try and answer. Now, I will also link in the description to this video the website from Norwegian Cruise Line where you can go to compare the Free at Sea and the Free at Sea Plus packages for yourself. Because I always say, while I can give you my experience on board this ship, you always need to make sure with your cruise line that that's still correct at the point of your sailing. But look, time for me to head out and about around this ship. If you enjoyed the video, jump down below, give me a thumbs up, and why not come along on the adventure as we explore so many more cruise ships from so many more cruise lines. All you have to do is hit subscribe. But wherever you are in the world, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see all of you in my next video. Cheers, guys. Bye.